First and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there. We will be talking about the pros and cons of head coach Willie Green. Let's do it.
First took away. Dance with this. Get your money's worth out.
Presented to you by the Birdsall Lawfirm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk, located at 918 Poydras Street by the Superdome. Give them a call at 504-523-5413 if you're someone you know has been involved in an accident. The Birdsall Lawfirm, the official injury lawyers of Pro Pels Talk. Lido, Chaz, and Ross on this Sunday night. Let's get right into it. So we're going to talk the pros and cons of Willie Green. Pretty excited about this show. There's a lot of good talking points here. Lido, I'll start with you first. One of the things that it's very obvious what Willie Green's really good. Defensively, he's a very good defensive coach. He gets guys to buy in 1 through 15. I think he does an incredible job defensively with this team. There's one thing that really irks me, and it starts with the timeouts. And it's so funny because Chaz pointed this out like 3 years ago, man. Like Chaz literally was on this like 3 years ago. It was like he didn't know how to use timeout. So I'm gonna play a clip here. This is just against the Thunder. Okay, this is just against the Thunder. This is what kind of annoys me. All right, so Chet makes the bucket. CJ's walking it up. We're calling a set, and boom, timeout. Okay, so if you realize that, right, to me, you just wasted 7 seconds of the shot clock by walking the ball up, CJ not understanding what's going on, and not calling the timeout right there. Because what you do is they go on a run, they hit a three, whatever it may be, just call the timeout there. Willie is not a very good time manager. Would you say that's one of his cons as a head coach? Not understanding when to call a timeout, not understanding when to let things go. Would you say he needs to improve on that next year?
I would say that's an understatement amongst a couple other things. I don't know how deep in this conversation you want to go, but
we can go deep. Pause.
Damn.
But you know, I paused it, so like
Justin, play the clip, Justin. Play the clip.
I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh. Fucking love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This is for you.
Bad start.
Listen, I mean, to be honest, that probably is not even on that probably isn't even one of the top 5 things that annoys me because there's so many things. Man, you got rotations. Let's start there. Or the inconsistent lack of like this year he implemented this start Larry Nance in the third quarter phase of the I'm not really sure who brought that to him or what film they looked at. Hey Willie, would you take a look at this? I think we got something. And I don't know what it is that they saw because I'm not seeing it. I mean, they basically handicapped JV, and then they were forced to use him, and then he was out of whack. I mean, you don't run plays for players, like not even your.
He's
best.
Not in that look, and that's the thing. He's not an X's and O's guy. I've seen enough now. He's just really bad at it. It is what it is.
So why did you hire James Borrego if you? What is the point?
There's a deeper conversation for this, right? And so I guess Ross, we'll get your thoughts, then go ahead with Chaz. But I have a problem just with a simple timeout. Like there are moments there where it's just like, why waste? He did this twice in the postseason, by the way, against the Thunder. Like you're wasting 7 seconds off the shot clock for no good reason.
I wasn't done with my list. You said.
I mean, I have a list, but you got your own list.
I mean, yeah. Like you also, you have a tendency to pick at certain players and not, and you don't have that same energy for other guys. For instance, if you say you want 43s a game, and maybe a perimeter player or a power forward who's a star doesn't shoot any threes,
would you say it's an accountability problem then?
For Willie or for
holding people accountable? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was told that that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like I was told that's the thing that he's a man of respect. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of God.
Okay, Ross, go
You know
ahead.
what I'm saying?
What? I'm addressing the timeout question.
Timeout or accountability, whichever one. Let's
My
go
bad,
timeout
Ross.
first. Let's hold on to the timeout. Let's
Yeah.
stay with the timeouts.
The timeout thing is indicative of a bigger issue that I think you've already alluded to, and it's the fact that I don't think he's a very good basketball coach. I don't think he manages the game well. Let me say it like that.
Game
I
manager.
I don't think he manages a game very well, and it's really important in big games. It's really important in the playoffs because seconds matter, momentum matter, like all that stuff is important. I haven't seen him get better in that regard. Like, obviously, we're going to talk about more stuff. Lito just alluded to player development. You know, there's a host of things that we'll get into in this show. But just specifically looking at that timeout issue, it's a single point in what I think is a bigger picture of when you just look at the games. I don't find that he's very sophisticated in terms of managing that, whether it be rotations, whether it be making changes to adapt to what the other team is doing, whether it be staying with the hot hand, whether it be calling timeouts at appropriate times, whether it be not using all of your timeouts in a game, whether it be not using your challenge when it seemed clearly appropriate. All of those things that just look like really obvious situations to us sometimes, but they're clearly not obvious to either him or the coaching staff. I think that's a low mark. If there's a report card, he's still getting a very low score in that regard for me.
Chaz, go ahead. Chaz, you're muted. Sorry.
It's a fucking mess around here. I just think the time game management in general. If you go back to game 1 of that OKC series in the closing seconds, again, you have an opportunity to get a quick shot up, potentially foul if you were to miss, and they don't do that. You know, they use the entire clock, and they end up putting up an ill-fated CJ3. And you've seen that time and time again. You've seen Dyson Daniels get 5-second calls in Miami last season, and the season derailing loss with the good Matt Ryan when he hit that game tying 3 from beyond the arc. You're up 3 on the road. Just foul, brother. Like, just foul. You know, ironically, Dyson Daniels was the one missing free throws too. Yeah.
Yep.
So
both of them.
Yep. And you had Willie Green playing Dyson Daniels sometimes ad nauseum for a poor reasoning. This game management is in general. Sometimes they were saved from themselves, but I wanted to also present this because this is also a part of game management. You look at this, right? And this was in April. So at that time, Pelicans were 0-21. When trailing going into the fourth quarter, they had 29 blown leads, 11 blown fourth quarter leads, and 13 blown double-digit leads. That's just all the signs and makings of a bad team, and more importantly, a bad coach and leader.
So Jared joined the show. Jared, we're talking about the timeout thing, but this is a good segue because I wanted to talk a little bit. Lito talked about some accountability. This to me showed me everything I needed to know. So tie game, first quarter, Jose's got a 3-on-1 fast break and does that, right? And so then OKC comes down, gets a really, really good look, and thank God SGA misses it. And at the end of the quarter, and then you see kind of Jose like, I don't like shooting and whatever, waving at the goal. Jared, if Jordan Hawkins were to do that, if Trey Murphy were to do that his rookie or even sophomore year, if Dyson did, you name it, they're gone. They're out. They're benched. They might not see the court the rest of the game. Jose Alvarado started the second quarter. After that, 3-on-1 fast break, tie game. He's shooting 7% from deep in the series at that moment, and he does that. You haven't won a game all series. And he does that. Do you think Willie Green would have kept Jordan Hawkins in the game if he'd have done that? That's my problem. It's the accountability. And we talk about this with like he coaches JV and Trey hard, but when Jose or Brandon does that kind of stuff, there's no accountability.
I mean, that's been the MO the entire time. This is just a byproduct of it. I mean, this isn't the first time Jose has shot an ill-advised three, or like you know. I think the thought process right there, you have to, if you don't have a clean layup, right? If you can't get a clean layup, at least play for the last shot, at least, right? Like that's what you want to do. You didn't necessarily. It's 10 seconds left on the the game clock, or 14, I think, right, when he shoots it.
Yeah, something like that.
You don't you just want the last one. You don't want to give the other team an opportunity to score if you have it, right? Like you have a fast break, cool. But you understand the real reason why you pulled that is because you didn't have a layup. But that you're not shooting it well. Even if you do make, you still give the other team a chance to score. To Chaz's point when he brought up the 0-21 stuff, right? You know what's really crazy to me? I bet other teams understood I bet other teams understood we only have to play this team for 3 quarters. Like, imagine that. Like, the strategy for other teams was like, we just got to beat them in 3 quarters because they're not built to, come back from a deficit, and they never did it. Like that's what the other teams probably thought. If we win in 3 quarters, you're playing an NBA game, and they're saying, "Hey, let's just win a 36-minute game," because we know in the last 12, they're not going to be able to shake. That's embarrassing. Like that's to me the most telling thing. Like you only had to play 3 quarters of an NBA game to win.
Lito, as a player, kind of take me through the thought process, right? And we've all played high level sports, whatever it may be, basketball, football, whatever it may be. When a coach, right, holds some players accountable and not other players accountable, how does that make you feel as a player? It kind of take me through a player's mindset when you're kind of like your head coach does that kind of stuff.
Well, first of all, it's supposed to be everybody's supposed to be on the same accord. Everybody moving at the same pace, right? We all doing everything. We doing the same drills. We supposed to be giving the same effort. So if a coach has picks and chooses, if a coach is showing favorability to a player, it's a FU to the other 12 guys.
Right.
Is no way you could look me in my face and you see I'm working hard as I possibly can, and this dude over here slacking off, and you don't have no words for him, but you come to me with the bullshit. Is no way I'm gonna respect you as a player. I'm not. You can't like. It's like for people who've never played sport. It's like played a sport. It's like you at your job and you there on time. You don't cheat lunch. You don't leave early. You give 110% your whole day at work, and then you got a coworker who no call, no shows. They don't get reprimanded. Takes a extended lunch. Doesn't do half the work you do, and nobody tells them anything. Why would you continue to give the same effort at work? So if we like, bro, don't even get me started on this subject. But like, there's practices, and you're supposed to play the way you practice, right? Perfect practice stops poor performance. So if I'm in practice and I'm doing my, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing everything you asking of me, and the guys who are practicing aren't doing those things in the game, it's supposed to be a conversation. Hey, come sit down right here. Let me holler at you. Let me talk to you. I don't mean in practice. I mean during the game. Like, dog, sit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it's supposed to go. And when it doesn't go like that, that's when you start getting you start hearing whispers. You start getting people making random statements in press conferences. And you don't really know the backstory behind it, but you know, like, yeah, this don't sound crazy. You start seeing people saying things like, I'm taking a back burner. You know what I'm saying? Like you that's the kind of bag you get into when a coach does some shit like that.
So we'll go Ross and Chaz. Well, one of my other things in my notes is the post game presser and also gamesmanship. And what I mean by gamesmanship is protecting your players, right? So this was a clip from Willie Green. I don't know the date on it. It was obviously middle of the year, but it was a question regarding Zion Williamson and getting fouled.
And I guess what would you like to see the officials do better with Z specifically?
Be consistent. Simple. Be consistent. I won't go too much further than that. Try to keep some money in my pocket if I can, but be consistent across the board.
So Coach Green says that after the game, and then this is kind of the whistle that Zion Williamson gets throughout the game. This is your star player, this is your franchise guy. Zion gets up, obviously, in his face. Watch Willie Green's reaction to this. Kind of, Zion up. You're up 23. Really nothing to lose here, and just nothing. The two things he's got to get better at is one, protecting his players, and two, going to bat for his players. Right. So I looked this up today. I think he was whatever it was I think 18th in the league in technical fouls. Allegedly, he had 3 technical fouls this year. I don't remember. I remember 1. I think he's got to, 1, protect his players more, and 2, he's got to be more vocal on the sideline. If Zion Williamson, you see it, everybody sees it. This guy's getting mauled every single night, and you're gonna stay quiet throughout the whole thing and say, and also you just don't say I want to keep money in my pocket. That just shows you you don't give a fuck. That, in my opinion, that's what it made me look like. I understand, you want to keep money. You don't have to say that though. There are ways around this that you can be very vocal. Do you have to be like this? I'm not saying you have to be like this, but
beautiful move here by Anthony Edwards, hanging in the air. Michael Malone is hot. He is hot. Having words here with the official.
that was after Jamal Murray no call on a charge. And by the way, Mike Malone leads he's top 10 in technical fouls, but he goes to bat for his players. Do you think I'm off on that? Do you think he needs to get better at that? Where are you at with it?
Well, I think he needs to get better at it, but he's not gonna.
Why?
It's just not his personality. I don't think he's built like that. Has he shown you one inkling of that personality trait?
He did get ejected one time. He did get ejected. What it was his sophomore season? I think it was his second year. I think he got ejected.
Did he?
He did. He does have an ejection.
There you go.
Yep.
Look, he's. I'm not saying that you have to curse to be respected and to be feared and to be taken seriously, but it sure as fuck don't hurt, right? We've joked about it. It's hard for him to pick up technical fouls because he never walks on the court. He never gets animated. He doesn't curse. He doesn't say anything in post games, right? Just even using the most current example, Rick Carlisle after that last game didn't hold back, right? They sent 75 plays or whatever he was talking about to the league that they thought the referees missed, and he talked about them. You saw Toronto's coach go ape shit in the middle of the year when Scotty Barnes was not getting a whistle. I think he tries to walk this weird tightrope of being like brotherly with the players. I won't say that he wants to be friends, but we certainly don't see him treat CJ the same way he would treat Trey or some of these other guys, right? We've seen some of that. There are times where I think his demeanor can be helpful, but there are certainly other times where I find it to be a total detriment to getting anything accomplished. And the fact that it's now year 3 going into year 4 and we're having this conversation, I think again, when if you're looking at a report card, again, I see really low marks here. I don't it's hard for me because I hadn't seen him grow into this at all. Like, I haven't seen him get better at managing the games. I haven't seen him be more assertive with officials. I haven't seen him hold players more accountable publicly. I haven't seen him call out officials in a way that's going to help his player and protect his players. I just haven't seen those things. Those are not things that take 3 years. He was an assistant coach for 3 or 4 years before he came here, right? I just haven't seen the proper progression for what I see as a coach that's going to lead you to a championship.
And to the point, this is a rookie head coach. This is the Toronto Raptors head coach, rookie head coach, backing up Scotty Barnes.
Respect for all stars and all of that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible is Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them
Didn't curse one time. He didn't curse one single time. Go ahead, Chaz.
Yeah, that motherfucker spit everywhere. Yeah, man. You know what's funny? And one rejection, I just looked it up. I thought I was tripping, but I just looked it up. In Willie Green's only ejection, it was versus the Dallas Mavericks. I remember this vividly, right? It was Brandon's first game back. It was like the 6th loss in a row. And guess who he picked up the tech for? Jose Alvarado. So it's like, if it's his guys, he'll pick up the tech. If it's not his guys, he is gonna be, who he is. And you know what? In fairness to Willie Green wasn't hired because he was like the best man for the job. Willie Green he was the 4th option. Is probably the 2nd or 3rd option. Charles Lee, he just got hired to be in Charlotte somewhere.
Yeah, shout out to Charles.
Willie Green got hired because he was like, all right, we need somebody that won't annoy Brandon. And it was like, I hire Willie Green. Like, no one wanted Willie Green. You wanted Ty. You really wanted Stan. You wanted Ty Lue. You wanted Jacques Vaughn. You wanted Charles Lee. You wanted a number of people, and you just ended up with Willie Green. So, hold on one second. My video tripping.
Yeah, see that.
Yeah, they finally hacked me. They got me. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. But can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're good. We can hear you.
Yo, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I'm gonna step off.
Okay. So Lito, the next segment I had is kind of his randomness, right? And what I mean by randomness, I'm talking Tony Snell against the Clippers. I'm talking Kyra Lewis first off the bench, and this is Willie Green is not a guy that's a big he likes to play it safe with challenges, right? Which is fine. Like that's if you want to do that, that's fine. Game 4. Okay, game 4. I'm gonna play this clip. Okay, so it's a block charge call, and I think Jarrett would agree with this too. That is the hardest call, I think, in all of sport, even off of a review. CJ goes barreling in, block charge. You see Willie Green kind of and he challenges it and misses it. Okay, so now there's 8 minutes left in the game. Josh Giddey comes up, hits a 3. They take a timeout with 8 minutes left. They have 1 timeout remaining for the rest of the game. So if you don't, and he hasn't done this all year, if you don't challenge that call in the first quarter, you still have a timeout left and you also have your challenge left. So once again, he did this randomness thing in a play-in postseason game they hadn't done all year and decides to try it out in game 4. And it comes back to bite him in the ass because he has to take a timeout there to stop the run. He's got 1 timeout left for the last 8 minutes. And if I'm not mistaken, what was our stats in crunch time? Like one of the worst in the league. The randomness.
I mean, this is what happens when you don't have a plan. When there's no foundation, you have nothing to lean on as far as consistencies. Like there are no consistencies. The only consistent isn't any consistency. First of all, first quarter challenges should be abolished. You shouldn't even be able to challenge anything in the first quarter. Like,
It's a tie game. It was a tie game with like a minute and a half left, and like, yes, CJ picked up his second foul, but he's a veteran. Like the dude, you can take him out there and then put him in like 2 minutes into the second quarter, you'll be fine.
I mean, look, there's still more things on my list, but I'm gonna tell you this: what's Toronto's coach's name?
I don't know his name.
No,
I'll
we
have to
just,
look
all right.
this
We
up.
just go. It's all good. We just gonna call him that boy. So that boy, why I respect him so much is because he lied. He got up there in front of all of the reporters and he lied. He said, "We have stars on this team." He was referring to Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes ain't no star. Check this out. Your man won't even get up there. He's gonna tell you, "I don't want any fine money to coming out of my pocket." You're not even willing to lie. You don't even want to discuss it. There's no discourse about the lack of calls that your guy is not getting. And again, it's the accountability piece. He not even holding himself accountable. How you gonna hold another player accountable? Like, you not even doing the things. I get he's the head coach of a basketball team. That's a leadership position. He does have leadership qualities because he gets people to buy in, but it's a lot. Like, I'm with Ross, man. It's like certain things, some intangibles you just supposed to have already. It's not supposed to be going in the year 4 and you like, Justin, you told me he not good at X's and O's. What the fuck are you here for?
Well, 6th ranked defensively, right?
Humber, where you at? You playing tonight? I ain't see the. It looked like.
No, they're not playing tonight. They average 88.5 points or whatever it was. Yeah, and Jared, it begs the question. So you get James Borrego this offseason, and it's clear as day. I know they haven't seen it. Look, guys, if you watch like the first 2 weeks, they scratch that shit like the first like 2 to 3 weeks of the year. They're like, nope, we're not doing this. Absolutely not. Like, I never saw any more angle pick and rolls. I didn't see the ball movement. I didn't see bombing threes. I didn't see pace. Well, I did see pace in the one game when James Borrego was the head coach, but we don't have to talk about that. Jarrett, why won't he lean into James Borrego? Because isn't this why he was hired in the first place?
Oh, well, Justin, why was James Borrego hired? I mean, if you're Willie Green, like, what? Tell me why, and then tell me that his stuff got implemented, Paul. Like his ideals got implemented, because we talk about in spurts James Borrego's like offense, or we talk about plays that were called like ATOs or like quick hitters that would be called, and then you just wouldn't see them anymore, right? Like, we see game plans that mimic what he did in Charlotte. Like, we could point out certain games that are like, okay, this looks like what they were doing, and then it just vanishes. At one point, this team was like top 10 in defense and in offense, right? And and that was playing James's basketball, to be honest with you. As soon as Willie Green was asked about, like, how's the team, being accustomed or getting used to James's offense, like, reporters are asking, like, they're mentioning James Borrego by name, saying like it's his offense. And as soon as that happened, like the next game, it went away. Like, the stubbornness, the elbows came back, the ashy elbows came back. Like, the stubbornness by Willie Green, or just the arrogance to think like, hey, we just need to play with more energy and effort and we'll be fine. Like, basketball isn't played like, yeah, you need energy and effort, but everybody plays with energy and effort at times. Like, what are you going to, like, how are you going to differentiate yourself? I mean, we look at teams. They were talking about another team the other night that kind of had the same problem. It was on TNT, but essentially, like, when you get late in games, like, what is going to be your identity, right? Like, who are you going to give the ball to? Dallas has it. Denver has it. And the T-Wolves have it. Minnesota, Jason Tatum and the Celtics have it. Philly had it with Tyrese. Indiana, that was a team. Indiana, right? Although they have Halliburton, one of the issues is they get late in the games, they don't know who to get a ball to, right? like similar problems, but that team, which was terrible in the regular season on defense, got into the playoffs. Like whatever Willie Green thinks, like the NBA basketball and like where it's headed, like he's so far off. I don't give a fuck what he thinks. Like he's far off from it.
Ross, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
We're just talking. We're talking about why he can't lean into James Borrego, right? Because Borrego's brought in, and he's not a good X's and O's coach, and yet he goes back to elbow. And Jarrett was right. Jarrett's right. Like it goes back to like they couldn't win 5 in a row. They couldn't win 5 in a row because they couldn't play the same way every single night. There was no consistency.
I go back to one word, and Jared just said it, but it's I don't let Willie off the hook for pass it off as ignorance or anything like that. For me, it's arrogance. I think he's an arrogant guy that is gonna like I want to do it my way. I want to play the way that I think we should play. I don't want other people getting credit whenever I'm the head coach. I think they're like, for me, a lot of it is that, like, simple as can be. And this is why you don't see consistency with this team, because it's that they evaluate themselves on results. That's why you keep hearing all this. Well, we won 49 games. I don't give a shit about 49 games. But that's why they're focused on results. So you win a couple games, and it's like, oh, hey, look, we got a top team defense or whatever. Well, you had that last year, and it didn't matter. You're a good defensive team the year before that, it didn't matter. You're focusing on the wrong things. You're getting excited because you beat, the Hornets by 30 at home. But that doesn't mean anything because you're still not playing a style of basketball that's replicable or that's going to like lead to anything. You have a good defensive player that is keeping you above water defensively, and that's great, cool. But you never would implement a style of basketball, and not just implement it, but demand that it be like adhered to. And that's why when somebody gets hurt, the whole thing fucking falls apart, and you can't score 90 points in a playoff game because there's no principles, there's no accountability, and for me, it goes back to this arrogance of your head coach not to do what is clearly what clearly needs to be done.
Chaz,
I understand what
add on. I said if you want to add on to that, go ahead.
Oh, I just think Willie Green sucks. I think Willie Green's Brandon's guard dog, and he's a whipping boy. He's just here to do his bidding, and to go to show you like how far the league has come to where defense doesn't matter anymore. Your number 8 pick was benched in a series. Your guard, your elite defensive perimeter player was benched in a series versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You couldn't play him. Like he was virtually unplayable. So all that defensive shit was cool. You played solid defense in the playoffs. It was solid. You could not generate any offense. And did you pivot and say, yo, we need some more offense out here? No. What did you do? You alluded to pivoting and then you fucking do it. It's like on the Water Boy when the coach was talking to himself when he first met Bobby Boucher. Like he fakes it. No, he fakes the fake.
Fakes to the left. He fakes the fake. He pretends to fake. I don't know where I am.
It's like Willie Green. It's like, bro, you overthinking like the simplest shit because some of it with the arrogance is I think you want to prove that you can win your way. And it's like, nothing to prove. You can't, bro. Like no one's playing this way. No one's playing this way. Like I've listened to a bunch of shows since the season has ended, and people are essentially echoing the same sentiments. They're like, yeah, you just like people were worried about Luka and Kyrie. Luka and Kyrie, they tied in the second round with a team that swept you, and they started off way beneath you in the standings. Had way more injury issues. Implemented about 2-3 new players. Lost which one is it? Maxey got hurt. He's out for the season with the AC joint. Cleveland. He's out for the postseason with the AC joint. And put some duct tape on that shit, millionaire. Get on the court. But so this team caught up with you and passed you.
Do you know
Right?
what? Do you
Like,
know
come
where
on.
Dallas ranks in defensive rating in the league? Does anybody want to take a guess?
I would guess near bottom 10, bottom 5.
Yeah, bottom third for sure. Probably 26.
18th.
18.
I think they got a lot better once
I
Cap.
imagine.
They got a lot better
Gap-
once
yeah.
Cap got there.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and
MPJ.
Rodgers pretty good too.
But
Yeah.
once again, 18th. Like they're not elite. They're not in the top 7. They're 18th. And then if you go offensive rating, shit, I don't have that right now.
Yo, I said about 2 off seasons ago, maybe it might have been this off season. I was like, look, the goal for the Pelicans should be ranked 15th defensively, be middle of the pack, and have a super elite offense. Because with the type of players you have, your only chance is being elite offensively. Like your defense isn't. You can again, Pelicans are down 3 in game 3. No, game 4. Pelicans are down 3. It's 83-80, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Pelicans get 3-4 possessions to make something happen. Can't do it. Game 1, Pelicans get like 4 fucking offensive boards. That's the one when Brandon did the crazy ass spin around 3. Like that shit was crazy. Yeah, they get like 4 fucking offensive boards. Cannot get a bucket. You cannot generate offense easily. Even your best players don't benefit from easy looks. So come on.
And that was another thing, Lito, and I want to hear Jared's thoughts on this too, because you watch all the film. I watch a lot of film. Their go-to set was like we joke about it, but it was elbow, and it never worked, ever. Oh, Jared, am I wrong? Did it work? You're muted. I'm sorry.
No. It's not that it didn't work. Like they didn't know what they were looking for. That's my whole.
They know how to read it. They know how to read it.
They have no idea what they're looking for. At no point did they ever get a layup out of elbow.
I really don't think they ever did. I really there was a back screen. Like sometimes Zion was in the corner, sometimes Zion was in the high post. Like your late game situation, it got to be consistent. Like I know where I'm gonna be. I know who's going to screen. I know who's got the ball. It was just it was a clusterfuck. The whole thing was a clusterfuck.
Who was reading who? Who is the guy? Like, all right, if we get this guy to move, this is gonna set the trigger that LeBron always talks about. Who is the trigger? Who are we searching for? Are we trying to get a switch? Are we trying to make this happen? Like, what are we actually looking for? Because 9 times out of 10, what ended up happening, you give the ball to the guy at the elbow. They're gonna run another fucking DHO off that, and whoever that is shooting the fucking ball, and that is not a optimal way of running an offense. It is not, especially in the NBA when you can't even get guys off screens. Like if you watch the fucking Dallas Mavericks game tonight, and you saw how they were hitting Lou Dort, like trying to guard Luka tight. All right, fuck, we're gonna hit him. Didn't care about how many moving screens they got. Like, no, You have to make contact with Lou Dort if you want to move him off. That's how you do it. But this team's a bad screening team. We talked about this, Justin. We talked about this ad nauseum. They don't know the reason why BI couldn't get Dort off them because they don't know how. They don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy that an NBA team doesn't know how to screen. But go ahead, Lito.
I mean, look, to Fav's point, yeah, like you could have all the answers to the test, but if you don't know what you're looking for, like it doesn't matter. I could essentially I could time the movements on the possession, but if you don't know where I'm supposed to be, I think we talk about the low IQ-ness of this basketball team a lot, and I think that's one of the reasons. Look, to Fav's point also, man, they ran 2 tonight. They ran 2 flare screens for Luka, back-to-back flare screens where Dort got picked twice. They were making Lou Dort work so hard to get through these screens. Like either Luka was getting open.
They sent for Brandon. How many flare screens in that series they sent for Brandon?
Go ahead, Fav. Go ahead.
Well, why the fuck would you set a flare screen
Right,
for
'cause
somebody
then
that
shoot
won't shoot a
three.
three? Like what?
Exactly.
Like, all right.
That's
well,
also a really good point. That's also a really good point. I mean, yep. You would, yeah, you're right. That's crazy. Sorry. Go ahead, Lito. I'm sorry.
Nah, but bro, it's so funny because that was literally gonna be the ending point that I made. When you tell a coach get you open, and I could run something to get you open, but like the open shot may result in a perimeter shot that you don't want to take. That's not my fault. And that's what look, through everything that happened with Willie, I can't put that blame on him. You saw Brandon could have listen, and in the same token, Brandon could call for a screen. He could call for the screen. But like, what are you gonna do with it? Because Dort knows all he gotta do is just go under it.
Yep.
I don't gotta fight to go through that. And they don't even have to help over top. Like for what?
Yep.
You made yourself guardable.
Ross, any pros from Willie Green? God, I think defense, maybe no.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess he's a good defensive coach. I give him kudos for that. I just struggle to see where he's gotten better. That I know you're asking for positives.
Well, you can just point to the win-loss record, right?
No, you can't. You can't. Because you didn't get any better. Like you just had your best player that played 70-something games, and so because of that, you won a handful more games. But relative to your opponents, you didn't, like relative to the rest of the West, you didn't win more games.
But
Like
he hasn't had Zion
a 7-8
available.
seed.
He hasn't had Zion available. So how could he possibly, improve?
That's what I'm saying. And you didn't. He was available this year, and you still didn't improve relative to the rest of the West. That's the problem. And I know you're asking for positives. I go back to that, early January, Jordan Hawkins goes nuts at Dallas, 35 or whatever, wins you a game on the road. Right after that game, Willie Green says it's going to be tough to keep this guy out the lineup. And by February 1st, he was out of the rotation. He played 35 minutes that night in Dallas. He didn't play 30 minutes again the rest of the season. He only played more than 25 minutes once the rest of the season. You said after a game in which this kid won you, it's going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup. And less than 3 weeks later, he was out of the rotation, period. It's hard to find positives. It really is. And I wish we had positives. I do. I wish I had a lot of great things to say about this dude that was going to lead us, lead this team to something. It's hard to find positives.
Chaz, go ahead. I forgot about the Hawkins thing. I forgot.
I think all of Willie Green's, none of Willie Green's positives traveled with him. I think the positives that him as a young coach in Golden State and Phoenix, was he in Phoenix?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. None of those player development things, none of those creative things, none of those things traveled with him. And because Willie Green's he's not a head coach. Like, you know what I'm saying? Willie Green's probably a really good assistant coach. And I think Willie Green just has a knack for losing the game and the press conference. I don't think he instills any type of fight, no pun intended, with this team. And it's funny, if I'm not mistaken, Justin, I think that quote, that money in the pocket quote, I think that came after the Miami game. If I'm not mistaken,
interesting.
That might have come after that Miami game where again, you go the whole game, you see the way the game's officiated. And it's been tons of times this season where he could have kind of shifted the momentum of the game by just getting a technical, by calling a timeout here, by just doing certain things. I just think Willie Green's a guy who's well in over his head. A lot of it's his fault. It's not all his fault, but a lot of it's his fault. And the only reason I say it's not all his fault is because, all right, you can't help your guys not being available. But I have seen a large enough sample of you with these guys that I know you're not the guy for this job. also you were brought here again not because of your talent or not because of how skilled you are. You were brought here because you were rumored to be able to get along with guys and not rock the boat. And so far since he's been here, he's rocked several boats. Pause. I don't think no one like of the big three. I like you gotten into it with at least two of them, be it minor or otherwise. It's like if people are laughing at you, it's like I don't mean this like proverbial. I mean like players literally laughing at you because they think you're inept. It don't get no better. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you're Willie Green and you're getting into it, an argument with one of your big three, they could probably look at you and say, man, I got more talent in my left shoe. I got more talent left than you had in your prime. So all that you being a player shit, it goes out the window because now you've officially lost my respect. Trey Murphy will probably be further along by this point. There would be no question about his extension, or even less question about his extension, rather. Dyson might look decent. A lot of people would probably just be further along. The process Willie Green is still, it's just been terrible.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the clip. I can't find it, but he also he also went on our press conference and said he doesn't play like a rookie to me. He's in the gym every day with Coach Corey Brewer. He has over and over proven that he belongs on the floor.
This man's insane. This man's insane.
So
say that out loud.
January 17th. Was that the Mavericks game? Was that the Mavericks game? January 17th, right?
I think it was before that. I feel like
it was before that because the other game was
Martin
Luther King Day
or something. Yeah,
it was Martin Luther King. Okay, so he says, "Yeah, I don't."
You know what's crazy? He wouldn't look as bad if he just didn't say dumb shit. Like no one's forcing you to say keep the money in your pocket, or we haven't earned those calls, or we got to be better than that. No one's forcing you to say these things. He's making it hard for me not to play him. You just saying it. Like you just saying it. Like shut the fuck up. Like what you doing?
That Dallas game was the 13th of January.
When he went off.
It was back to back.
So
right?
wait, he went off on the 13th.
Yeah, and then we had a day
and then we
off,
played them the 15th.
We lost to him on the 15th, and then we came.
And he got
home.
how many minutes? How many minutes did he get that game?
He got 20, and he went 36 in the win, 20 in the loss.
How many Jose get in that game?
Which game?
The second game.
Jose got.
They hit a couple of threes that game. Yeah, the second game.
Jose did not.
Jose did not play in that game.
Did Jose play the following game? There was a game where so nobody played. Hawkins went crazy.
That's the first game.
Yes. Then he got 20 minutes.
Game, I think
Jose came. When did Jose come back? Was it the following game?
Jose came back the following game at home against Charlotte.
How many minutes?
He only played 2 minutes, but Hawkins had a great game in that one too. Went 6 of 9 from deep.
Go with the other game. Go the following game. Hawkins
the game
struggles.
after that. Yep, the game after that was Phoenix at home.
Hawkins struggles.
Hawkins goes 5 of 11 in 16 minutes. Jose played 7 minutes. We got punished.
Do the following game.
Game after that is the 23rd. We put up 153 on the Jazz. Hawkins plays 16 minutes. Jose plays 5. Hawkins again shoots really well from the field. And then you're getting close to the point where he comes out of the lineup here. I think this is probably the game against OKC where Jose plays 12, Hawk plays 19. Hawkins again actually played decent in that one too. And then it was this Boston game when he played 6 minutes.
And Jose got more minutes.
Hawkins played 9 minutes.
On the
road? Yes. And then that's basically Jose didn't even play in that game, but Hawk played 9 minutes, went 0-2 from the field, and then he was basically out of the rotation, coming off of 2 weeks where he played great.
Yeah, I got no words. I don't.
Yeah, less than a week later, he was collecting two minutes of DNPs.
Because everybody talks about, well, he can't play defense. And I keep going back to this argument. We didn't draft him for his defense. So why would you? It's crazy that we always go back to what Chaz fucking says. But why, as Chaz said, why would you draft him and you know you're not going to play him, and God knows you ain't gonna develop.
But if the thing is, if he doesn't play defense, let's say he's terrible defensively, and you
He's not even
fall
terrible
from
defensively.
and you fall from 6th to 10th, so what? Like you got much more offense out there. Like it is no logic with it, you know.
You know who else wasn't good on defense and he didn't want to play? He played Tony Snell over Trey Murphy. Watched out with my own eye. How'd that work out for us?
Hit the side of the goal.
I'm thinking back to that Boston game, bro. They got their ass waxed, right?
At home.
No. I'm talking about the
first
one
game. Yeah, they led.
Yeah, kind of came back.
Quarter.
What was that? That was this.
I think they lost by like 7 or something. I don't have. I can pull it.
Oh, it was a close game.
Yeah, they led to the fourth, and then they got bad.
Yeah.
Oh, Hauser had like a big game that day. That game, right? Like he hit like 5 in a row. Yeah. I remember that. But like, how can you? That's not a Jordan Hawkins problem. I think this was the game where they let Herb shoot, and I think what's his name? Mazzulla was like, yeah, that was our plan. Yeah, I watched.
They let Larry Nance. They let Larry Nance shoot like corner threes.
Remember, because remember in the first half they were like knocking shit down, and Mazzulla was like, yeah, eventually it'll even out, and it did.
It sure as hell did. Leo, any pros from Willie Green?
He look, I don't know how sustainable this is. I'm gonna start with saying that, but he does get guys to buy in. They will kind of like ask. Damn, I can't even say
buy
that.
into what?
I can't even say that. I can't say that. Because then I was about to.
He's not buying it offensively.
I was about to say defense, buying a defense, but then I was about to. Then I use buying as a general word, and I thought about like Brandon won't shoot threes, Zion won't shoot threes, Zion won't shoot anything but layups, even though you've said you want him to do like certain. Yeah, I don't know, Justin. I don't have an answer for that. I don't have nothing positive.
What would you say that people say, well, he's won 49 games, he's increased the win-loss total? Is that just simply because of the players? Whoever wants to go first? Is y'all giving no credit to anything Willie Green has done for those 49 wins?
Better coaches have been fired with winning records. Shit.
I mean, Dwayne Casey won the fucking coach of the year.
Yeah, Vogel won more games and he was just fired. You know, it's like the dude, it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who cares? Like, you just fuck all that. There's no participation trophies around this bitch. Like, fuck all that. Like, you know, it's been 3 years. There's no signs of growth. There's no signs of progress. Get out of here, man. Like this shoe.
All right, my rebuttal to that, if he wants credit, like what is he elite at? Like what is the thing that you can say Willie Green is elite at this?
The only I can think about is defense. That's literally the only thing I can think about.
So how can my bad.
I think he's a really, really special player. Herb Jones is elite defensively. But go ahead, Lito.
How can you be elite at defense when it was time to be elite at defense, you weren't elite at defense? Like we can't pick and choose. Like how come in certain times like this team just did not know fundamentally what defense we were in? And then okay, Justin, to that point also, you sub out JV because he's a slow foot tall guy for Larry Nance, who's a switchable guy, and then you run the same defense for both of them.
It's. I want to give him credit. Ironically,
I bet you do.
He's Dennis Allen, bro.
Oh,
there's just no there's no fire. Like there's got to be passion. You got to be kind of an alpha. No, not kind of. You got to be an alpha. Like you got to be. You got to be able.
Bro, he's Dennis Allen, bro. Like I think defensively, like he's good. Yeah, he's a good defensive coach. Okay. Can he coach a team though? Like the full team? I think if Willie Green was like in his right full spot on the coaching staff, then this would be a different conversation we would have. Right? Like if him and James Borrego just switched, spots, like, yeah, this would make a lot more sense if you just allow James to really coach the team and Willie be in charge of the defense. Because, yeah, like it makes sense, but let James be in control of the offense. Like Willie isn't that creative. Like he's stuck in his ways. That's the temperament of a guy that's defense. Like Dennis Allen been running the same fucking defense the last 10 so years. Like, like that's who these people are. You can't put those people in charge because they're not really good at being people. If that makes sense, they're not. They're like they're rugged people. Like this is what they like to do. They're stagnant. They're That's the parallel.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. Anyone else want to add anything?
Yeah, because you keep going back to this 49 win thing, or people keep going back to 49 win thing.
That's what everyone says.
Like,
they win 49 games. That's the excuse.
Well, fuck everyone, Justin. How about that? How do you like them apples?
Brandon played the most games he's played since he's been in New Orleans. Zion played the most games since he's been in New Orleans. CJ set records this year. Herb Jones became something that most of us didn't even think he could become.
42.
Trey Murphy played incredible the second half of the year. And you still didn't get out. Like, you still were a play-in team. How can I give you credit? The number of wins is irrelevant. It's truly irrelevant. You were still a 7 seed or 8 seed or whatever it was going into the play-in, and then you got swept. Where were you? Like, you won 49 games, but you were still the 7 or 8 going into the playoffs. That means that all the teams that were ahead of you last year were still ahead of you, except all of your players were healthy for the regular season for the most part and played pretty well, all things considered. So don't tell me about 49 wins because the number means nothing. Every year is different. Like, all the teams in the West won a lot of games. You still weren't better than any of them.
Mm-mm.
You didn't get better as a coach. You had a couple players that got better, but it still didn't lead to anything because you aren't the right person to elevate the players and the team to something else.
Well,
like giving a Ferrari. What I told you the other day, Justin.
It's like you get a Ferrari with like some ridiculous engine, like a Mazda engine or something. I don't even know. Go ahead. 5 seconds, Leo. We've been going on for like 2 hours now. Go ahead, man.
It's like that was a little crazy. It's like giving you a Ferrari. You're driving that shit like a Honda Civic.
There it is.
You're just driving economical. You ain't worrying about it. You ain't worrying about the type of gas you got to put in this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you all this offensive firepower, and you're like, no.
Slow the game down.
Slow it down. You know what? What about Larry? Look. Justin, what I told you the other day. How is Larry Nash? What is Larry Nash going to do?
His growth? What could he possibly grow?
How does he grow as a basketball player? Why are we worried about Larry Nash's professional development, dog? He is who he is. The roots are rotted. That's all I have.
Smash that like button. Happy